Get myself right up on out of here. I feel like a disgrace, I'm not really what I appear. I go home to my girl and I make nice seem nice. The fact that she don't know that I just put someone on. I don't like being here. I constantly live in fear. Could be gone at any time. When you live a life of crime, face the music through the time. I'm trapped again, and fate as always hasn't arrived again. I always get caught in my life of sin, but I just keep on going back again. You know I'm lost again, when all I wanted was to find a friend. Someone that I can always depend on to help me find my life again. You know I'm trapped again.
Welcome, everyone, to Mayhemtainment. I am your host and president of Mayhem Media, JD. I am joined alongside in this episode the newest member to the Mayhem Media family and the founder of the Joe Monroe Show, as well as host of the No Cell Roundtable, Joe Monroe. Joe Monroe, welcome to Mayhemtainment, both in the literal and in all the ways. Welcome to Mayhemtainment.
Thank you, JD. Thank you for the opportunity to come out here and actually be on the other side of an interview for once in, been a while, actually.
Yeah, it's quite a different thing when you're the guest once you've been a host, right?
Oh, yeah. Like I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, I gotta get this. No, wait, this isn't mine.
Yeah. Yep. The interface is all different because you also use StreamYard for the Joe Monroe Show and the No Cell Roundtable. So yeah, it's quite a different when you don't have access to all the screens and everything that you have access to when you're the host.
Right. Man. And I'm glad we get to talk about today too. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. So I again appreciate you, brother, for letting me come on here today.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be talking about a couple of different things in this episode. Let's start with Marcus Fredrickson playing us in with the music. He does all the music for Mayhemtainment. He plays us in and out of every episode. Make sure you check him out, reverbnation.com/Marcus Fredrickson. Share out your favorite Marcus Fredrickson song. Tag us in it. Leave a comment. Whatever you want. Joe Monroe Show. Make sure you go follow him on Facebook, and he's also available on YouTube. And he'll soon be available on Rumble. We're going to be working on helping him get his Rumble set up, so he'll be on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. And he's on Spotify. He's on Spotify. We're not on Spotify quite yet. We're working on that too.
If say vice versa with Rumble, I'm going to help you try to get on Spotify.
Exactly. Yes. I'm going to get him on Rumble. He's going to get me on Spotify. That's what we're gonna do here. That's just one of the things that Joe Monroe and the Joe Monroe Show get, by coming under the flag and joining us. And speaking of people who we have been trying to recruit for a while, Crander, you Friends of the Squared Circle is in the house.
The number 2 beard in podcasting is here. Hey, Crander, how you doing, buddy?
And Crander, we have we'll let almost anybody on the show.
Hey.
I mean, you're part of the company now, so of course you get to come on the show.
Fair enough.
You're part of the Mayhem now. Crander Q, he's still holding out on us. He's still holding out on the Mayhem brand. He doesn't. He wants to be his own man still. He doesn't want to join the family.
For shame.
Yeah, for real, man. You should just join the team and get it over with. Like I've told you before, you're going to be working for me eventually. Who else we need to shout out? Let's give Mike D from Wrestling from the 313. We'll give him a shout out. And then let's shout out our Mayhem people. We'll give Saul Good a shout out. Go follow him on Facebook. Saul Good. He'll be back with Frankie Corleone with a new episode of Into the Barricade at the beginning of June. Shout out Connor Clarkson. He should also be a part of Into the Barricade. Plus, he's going to be having another show also in the future on Mayhem Media as well. So look for that. Connor will be getting more involved with some of our shows and stuff as well. Our sister show, the Boiling Point Podcast. Remember, Mayhem Media is entertainment. That's where we leave all that other stuff behind. You come here to be entertained, but if you are interested in politics or world news or economics or faith or any of that, that's on the Boiling Point Podcast side. That's our sister show. Mike D, we already gave you a shout out. If you are just tuning in, we gave you a shout out a few minutes ago. So definitely go check him out. Wrestling from the 313 on Facebook, on YouTube, and I think he's on Instagram. He's on TikTok. So check him out. I've been trying to recruit Mike D as well to join Mayhem. He's another holdout. But I think we get Mike D, and I think Crander Q will have no choice but to join us because all of his friends will be with Mayhem at that point. And Mike D is going to be on this weekend. He's going to be on an episode this weekend. We're going to talk some NBA this Sunday at 9:15ish.
Hey, the Wizards in the house. Easy. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, JD.
That's all right. Nope. Feel free. Let's give him a shout out. But yes, we will do an episode with Mike D on Sunday about the NBA. Look for that at about 9:15, 9:30 will be our pretty much our normal start times for most of our Mayhemtainment episodes. Chris, Zach, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate that. We appreciate everybody who's tuning in. Please, you're watching right now, do me a favor, hit that like button and share out this episode right now. That was what will help us more than anything is sharing out this episode. We need our content shared out so that more people can see it. Oh, Jade, see, the thing is, Crander Q, my masculinity is tied in no way to my beard. And also, if I let it get any longer than it is, it becomes a fire hazard, and that's not okay either. So, I don't know who the wizard comment is for. Maybe for Joe Monroe, because I definitely don't have the wizard.
No, CZ is the wizard. CZ.
Oh, Chris CZ's the wizard. Okay, good.
Remember we had him on the latest episode of the No Cell Roundtable.
You're asking me to remember a thing a couple of weeks ago, dude, and I got so much on my plate with growing Mayhem Media, I can barely know what I'm doing from one day to the next. I was even running late for this episode, so
all good. We got storms where I'm at too, so it all worked out just fine.
Yeah, they were storms here last night. Pretty bad one actually. But enough about that. Let's talk about you. You not just a podcaster. You don't just have the Joe Monroe show and the No Cell Roundtable, and but you used to be a wrestler.
That is true. I used to be a wrestler. Wrestled for about 2.5, 3 years. A little rough at times, but it was worth it. Oh, geez, Louise.
Trainer Q, you're not wrong, man. I'm everywhere. I don't know how many times I got to say it. I'm everywhere, man. That's just the way it is. Sorry about the horn noise. That's my notifications on my phone. I forgot to turn my phone off.
Okay.
But yeah, man, I'm everywhere, man. State of Pro Wrestling, we'll give them a shout out. State of Pro Wrestling, go check them out. They'll have some more content coming in the next few weeks as well. So go check out State of Pro Wrestling. And yeah, between, I'm pretty much everywhere at this point. Even if you're not always seeing me, I'm there. Even if I'm not on screen, I'm still there. So that's just the way it is. Y'all have to get used to it. So let's talk about you being a wrestler.
All right.
We have some pictures here. Let's go. Let's do some of these pictures. Oh, wait, I forgot. We gave Crander Q a shout out and forgot his visuals. So let's do that. Our friend Crander Q.
Oh, well, it's funny because it's true.
Yes, he likes to self-deprecate himself, and this is funny. I'm not gonna lie, this is funny. But Crander Q is a hard worker, and that's why we want him on Mayhem, because he's one of the hardest workers, and he's great at what he does. So Crander Q, shut out the horse's ass.
Oh man, oh sorry, I don't mean to be. I'm probably laughing too much than what I should have. Rude.
Rude. Yeah, whatever. What he fails to mention is that he makes a lot of the visuals. He helps us out with a lot of the visuals, with a lot of stuff, especially on our like monthly roundtable episodes. They're not under a special name or anything. They're just Mayhemtainment episodes, but we've been getting 4 or so people together to talk about a topic. And he does. Go ahead.
Let's fix that. He actually was the one that named the No Sale Roundtable.
Yeah, and he made
created
the logo. Yeah,
graphics.
and he made the logo for you for it. So that's
Yep.
why we have to give Crander Q a shout out, and we'll put the banner up in the corner just briefly to make sure people know to go check him out. He's a hard worker, and he's making a new like visual logo screen business. You know, if you're a podcaster and you're looking for some of the still images and stuff that we use here on some of our Mayhemtainment episodes, then hit him up, and his commissions are completely reasonable. His prices and commissions are completely reasonable, so there's no reason not to go visit him and see what you guys can work out. So if you have a show, go check out Crander Q. Sorry, Crander, I'm having trouble in the name of what you're going to be calling that. So if you want to leave a comment with the name, I'll actually shout out the name, but I am having trouble remembering what you're calling it. So all right, enough about that though. If he says the name, we'll mention the name again, but that's enough. So let's get back to this. All right, wrestling. So
Yep.
I'm just gonna go through some of these, and then you can just talk to us about what we're looking at, and we
No.
can hear from some stories from your wrestling days here.
No, not a problem. Oh man, this
Here's one.
brings
Now
back.
you're second on the left.
I am the one holding, as we dub. It's a version of the big gold title. We nicknamed it Goldie.
Yeah.
That was the Brotherhood heavyweight title. Yes, that's being with the Irish flag.
Yeah. So you're the second. You're the second from the left there. Yep.
This
Who else?
is the Brotherhood. The gentleman with the hat and the looking all dapper and Dan as always. That's my manager, the professor. He was my ride and die gentleman. He since retired. We'll talk about him a little later on. The gentleman on my other side is the only five-time. I think I said it 5 times. GCW heavyweight champion Joe Gold, the table sitter himself. The guy beside him is Austin Michaels. The gentleman in front right there, unfortunately passed this past year.
Oh,
That is the Black Mamba Marcus. I miss you, brother. And the gentleman right next to Marcus is Chuck the Dragon Lee. Chuck is hilarious. I miss you, Chuck. I need to get you on my show for some road stories, brother. Then right next to Chuck in the mask is Awesome A. Then the goofy manager with the coat, his name escapes me at this Gene. That's all I know. I think that's his name is Gene.
Well, it's funny. You used to be a member of a brotherhood in wrestling, and now you just joined the Mayhem Brotherhood of podcasting.
Dude, I don't regret that at all. This group right here was it. We included. There's been so many members of the Brotherhood, but this right here was it, man. The previous show was the Joe Bob Memorial Show for Gym City Wrestling. Gym City Wrestling is where I cut my teeth. I will always consider Jellicoe, Tennessee my home. That will always be my home. That is Monroe country / Brotherhood country. But you know, the people, that's where I finally felt like a wrestler. That's where I kind of came into my own.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they stopped doing shows a few years ago. But you know, there's some how can I say there's some hope in the distance here. It's going to be. I can't really say anything right now. So
Yeah, that's good.
but
Red Ape Graphics. Sorry, that's the name of Crander Q's going to be his logo or visual company that he's making, which is why we want to get him, because he's very ambitious as well. And he's very good at it. So make sure you go check that out. Red Ape Graphics. He says it's a working title for now. If I know Crander, that's likely going to be the title. But so let's go to this. Here we go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Monroe family. This right here was the first rendition in the Monroe family. The lovely lady that you're seeing right beside the long-haired hippie boy, which is, we'll get to him in just a moment. That is my sister. She is still currently battling cancer. She right there was just the start of her battle for cancer. That was the September 11th show with the cage match. Me and my brother Sean there, who was wearing the Metallica shirt, went up against the Southern Enforcers. Great cage match. My first cage match. I don't regret that match at all. But more importantly, my sister was able to walk us out to the ring. And that was the day when the professor kind of head back. We'll get to that story in a minute. He kind of let Joe Monroe be Joe Monroe for a while, because at this point he was my manager for the first little bit of my career. But Sean there.
I like that version of your logo, dude. We should we might need to put that on something too. We might need to try and see if you can dig that visual out. And
that was my very first shirts. I was about to mention that. That's my very first shirts. Then we went to green. Then we stopped.
And of course now you can get more Joe Monroe apparel and stuff on our storefronts, bonfire.com/store/JDE Designs. That's with a Z at the end of it. We are building our own storefront for Mayhem Media, but it's not right now, but it is currently available. The current rendition of his logo and his apparel is available on our storefront, so go pick something up.
Yeah. Then of course you see Joe Gold again, and also the Professor. Those guys you'll see between those two gentlemen and a certain referee that I think we'll see in the picture here in just a moment. Very, very inspirational in my career. Both those men had a hand in my career, especially Joe. Joe and Walter Paul, who was my first rival in wrestling, were the ones that got me into Gym City Wrestling. They asked me, they're like, hey, would you like to be a part of this? Because I was previously trained in a company that I will not name for, my reasons. And COVID happened and they shut down. And my cousin Bobby's on here. Hey, Bobby. And then I just walked into their workplace and they're like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? I said, nothing. Why? They went, how would you like to come back to the reversion of Gym City Wrestling? I was like, I would absolutely love it, because Gym City was a big part. It's a big part of the Jellicoe, Tennessee community. The Joe Bob, also known as Wayne Honeycutt, had that. He was the showrunner, the promoter there, and had it going for years. And though they were free shows, basically the whole town of Jellicoe and probably parts of Williamsburg, Kentucky, would come down there and watch wrestling. I mean, that was our big source of wrestling. Speaking of Joe Gold, he actually just popped up here. Hey, Joe, how you doing, brother? I see him in the comments here.
Yep.
And
hello, Joe, and hello, Bobby.
I was able to find Tennessee Wrestling Alliance. They're trying to get shows back in Jellicoe, so hopefully they'll get the ball rolling back with that. It was run by Dusty Sharp, who also ran shows with Wayne Honeycutt for Gym City there for a while. And Joe, if I get any of this incorrect, just let me know, brother. Because Joe, he was there for the start of the company. And we'll be doing an interview pretty soon. Date to be announced, but we will be talking about Gym City on the Joe Monroe Show pretty soon.
Excellent. And I saw we got some more people tune in. Please take a moment right now, hit that like button, hit that reaction button, share it out, please hit that share button. And wherever you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Rumble, please hit that subscribe button right now, or follow us, subscribe to us, and please share out our episodes. That's what will help us more than anything else. Mm-hmm. And then we got this picture, Joe. Looks like a cage match there.
This was the same cage match. This is Joe Gold's favorite picture of Joe Monroe. This was after the show. The big cage match was me and him have left the Brotherhood since. It was the month before. And what happened was I had a Brotherhood shirt on. I ripped it off and revealed a Joe Monroe shirt. That was me leaving. And Joe did the same by stepping on a golden watch that was gifted to him by one Austin Michaels. So we both kind of left because to be honest with you, it didn't feel like the Brotherhood that we envisioned. It didn't feel like we were taking over the world as we wanted to. So we're just like, the heck with it. Let's just let this guy have with it. Let's do our own thing. Thus was the genesis for the Monroe family. But that right there, I'm just pondering after a grueling cage match. The Brotherhood basically took over the main baby faces, beat them down. It was probably the most, how can I say this? Gang warfare is the best way I can explain the end of that show. It was very, very grueling. They literally locked themselves, handcuffed each baby face because it was like a War Games match. Had weapons in there, handcuffed each baby face to the cage, to the ropes. They couldn't do anything. They took over. And they took all the titles with them, even though they were not the title holders.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
God, it was
great.
perfect.
I want to let everybody know to stay tuned because we are going to be talking about, we're going to continue to talk about his career yet, but a little bit later, we are going to get into some other stuff that you are going to be interested in. So stay tuned for that. Don't go away.
Yeah, we'll tune into more stuff.
Yeah, Joe, let's go through a couple of these here and
sure, let's go.
See. This just looks like a wrestling poster. Is this your wrestling poster?
This was one of the first. This was the start of the rivalry that I had with Max Page. That is the gentleman who the professor kind of, left me for. That was his second student. Me and him had a heck of a rivalry after me and Walter Paul kind of went our own separate ways after the Junkyard match, which I'll talk about here in just a minute.
Yeah.
We actually, I got to send you one more picture here. Sorry. I forgot to send it to you.
What about this one? Who's this?
This gentleman. This guy. That's my brother. That is the handsome one known as AJ Hart. Now, a little later on, after Gem City and another company, yet I will not mention their name, this was the first night after I made my debut for Triple Crown Wrestling, which is who I, work for as of now. This was after that, the Jeremy Break not memorial show. Jeremy Break's still alive, people, I promise. This was after the Jeremy Break retirement show. And this right here is special to me because I'm the last person that AJ Hart managed. Even though I about died that night, because a 400-pound man decided to try doing moonsault on little Joe Monroe here. I moved out of the way. But no, that night, we went out, had a few beers, had a great night. And that guy right there, again, he's another one that had a key component to my wrestling career.
Yeah.
And I can't thank him, Joe, and the professor enough for what they've done for me.
You got somebody in a crossface.
Yes.
Would you be offended if I called it the Crippler crossface?
I will not. So the gentleman is the hype man, or as a lot of people know him as the King in other places. We had a little bit of a thing going on. I didn't particularly like the whole match right here, but I love this picture because I've always seen myself as a submission wrestler. But yeah, dude, that I think his neck's still out of alignment from that.
yeah, it looks like it, man. You got that cinched in here.
Here we go. So the professor, yet again, if you notice his beard's
has anybody ever told you that young Monroe looks a lot like young Samoa Joe? Has anybody ever told you that before?
A lot of people have compared me to Samoa Joe, to Taz, which, those are some of my, inspirations for Joe Monroe. But I'm a little different. But if you notice with the professor, his beard's changed. That's because a little side story. He's probably going to kill me for killing this, but he used to do Santa Claus for Children's Hospital and everything. So, but right here, we was running heels. We was back. Excuse me. We was running Triple Crown Wrestling. This was our first. No, hang on. This is our first match together in Triple Crown Wrestling. This was the first match with the Hype Man. The previous picture was the second match with the Hype Man. And by that time, the professor had moved forward and has since retired. But yeah, this right here, this is one of my favorite pictures because this was us, man. We were on cloud nine, as you can tell. He was happy. I was happy. We were in a different place. We were ready to go.
Jeremy Break says that you're the man, and he hopes you are doing very well. Jeremy, he's under the Mayhem Media banner now, so he's doing fantastic.
I think he was talking about Joe Hamlin.
Oh, Joe Hamlin. Okay, well, you know what? Joe Monroe's doing great because he's under the Mayhem banner now. I don't know. I'm not sure about the other Joe you're asking about. Are you a referee here?
Yes. So remember I told you this story, or
You
was going to
zebra.
tell you this story.
Yeah,
Right?
no, I think you did, but I'm still making fun of you because you're a
This
zebra.
is the night that I refereed a deathmatch company.
Oh, nice.
Uh, yeah, and that guy right there in the mankind outfit is none other than creepy Sean Walden, and he is a good friend of mine. He is one half of the Midnight Vultures, along with Travis. I miss those guys. I need to go see them again. But they welcomed me with open arms. They actually were fans of my cousin Roland Hard, and yeah, we just kicked it off from there. I was happy I was able to ref this match. I was also able to ref a match with Madman Pondo. I cannot talk tonight, guys. Sorry. Uh, and yeah, that was pretty cool. Pretty cool night for me. One of a weird night refereeing. My last match. This right here was my last match. Okay, so if you think
you now you're here watching Samoa Joe wrestle a match. Is that right? What we're seeing here on this
then
picture?
this is me. This was the last match I had, and the gentleman that I'm in the ring with was actually my very first guest.
So this is you. Hold on, wait a second. So this is you, a
Mhm.
very thin you in the ring with Samoa Joe.
No, no,
Okay.
no. That's me. That is me right there.
You're trying to tell me you're the Samoa Joe looking dude?
Yep, that's me.
All right. I'll take your word for it.
Oh, can you not see the tattoo there, buddy? But
I'm looking at the face there, and it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. I think if you shave your beard off, I'll recognize you.
yeah, I know that ain't ever happening again. But the gentleman I'm wrestling this night is JD Thunder. He's a legend in Monticello, Kentucky, and in Kentucky in general. Was
Another
actually my
JD.
first. Yep, another JD. He was my first guest, my first legendary guest for the Joe Monroe show. So that's great. But the referee that you're seeing there is referee Jonathan Barnes, and Jonathan Barnes has refed majority of my career, no matter where I go. Jonathan Barnes is there. Oh man, I thought that
So
was
he's
pretty cool.
everywhere.
He's everywhere. Yeah, he's a hardworking referee. JD, I just sent you one more picture.
I got this one yet, Joe.
Of course you're going to show this. Okay, let's make Joe look like a mark here. It's fine. I was able to meet and have a pretty decent conversation with Eric Bischoff, whose voice you may have recognized at the beginning of the intro for Mayhem Media.
Yep.
This man, he's very cool. You wouldn't think that, given how big of a platform he was on, he would honestly. I thought he was gonna, big time me. Just be like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, here's an autograph. Go on, kid. No, dude, he took his time. Nobody was in his line actually. He took his time. We talked.
I definitely would love to talk to Eric Bischoff
Dude,
for a little while.
he was super cool. And as you can see, the professor is with me again.
Yeah. And yet we use Eric Bischoff's the voice clip from the New World Order days as part of our opening. It's our company stamp at the moment.
Yeah, that was when we went to SummerSlam weekend and Ric Flair's last match weekend.
Which one of Ric Flair's last matches?
In Nashville.
Okay.
So yeah,
And then we have the last picture that you just.
And Paul Monroe. That's me and him. I was a little baby then, but this is the man who started it. He's the one that got me started in wrestling. He's the sorry. He's the guy that got me loving a sport. That's what we bonded over. And
Yeah.
that's who the Monroe name. We're fighting Monroe's. He fought cancer for 20 plus years of his life. But he stayed strong. He was a happy man, cared about his family very, very much. Was able to raise not only 6 kids with my grandmother, but raised 2 grandchildren with me and my cousin. They didn't have to, but our parents worked all the time. And, the promo hard times, it was hard times for the Monroe family, but Papa and Memo was able to, watch after us, looked after us. And if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would be sitting here talking about wrestling. To be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
He looks like a very important man.
That's the original head of the family right there, JD.
So that's just some of your history there in the wrestling.
Just a little bit.
Now, before we move on to other stuff, unless you had something else you wanted to say.
I want to backtrack a little bit to the Gym City days.
Okay.
So you've seen the match. It's on my YouTube channel. It's the Junkyard match.
Yeah.
It was me and Walter Paul. That was basically our what you would say our blow off match. That was the last match we've ever had with each other. That's something that we was able to put together, and I got permission from everybody at Gym City Wrestling. I got yeses. Then sometimes I got yes, but please don't kill yourself. And I'm a big component of ECW. I love the ECW days. I love all wrestling, but ECW just kind of
everybody has a favorite. The tribalism in wrestling is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous to try and leave yourself in one lane. Like
Yeah.
why would you? It's like eating only one kind of apple. Like you have to eat apples from this state that was grown in this orchard. That's what your wrestling tribalism is like. It's just like doing that. So it's ridiculous.
I love NWA. I love traditional wrestling. I like the WWE. I like WCW, but I absolutely love ECW because to me, from a fan perspective, the fan interaction with that company, very few and far between. I don't think you can replicate that at all. ECW to me did revolutionize the business. I think a lot of people's probably going to yell at me for this, but I think Gym City had a little bit of ECW in it when it came to the fan base. Junkyard match. Yeah, Austin, I'm sorry I threw you in the mud, buddy. It made for good TV.
A comment there, sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, that's the man that got thrown in the big giant mud puddle and looked like he had poop all over him. Sorry, buddy. But I think Gym City at the time, especially with the Brotherhood, kind of felt like the ECW around these parts because people were talking about it. We were very small time. The shows were free, but that park would get packed out. Then
So now let's talk about man, I got distracted. You wanted to talk about that extra thing, and then I don't remember where I was going to pivot to after we were because I wasn't prepared for you to be like, oh yeah, one more thing. So I always give people the option, but most of the time they don't take it, so I'm not usually prepared for when people do that.
I got to give that Junkyard match, dude. We worked hard on it. Me, Walt, Austin Michaels, my good buddy Jonathan Hill, who filmed it all in one take. I want to say that was all one and done. There was no reshoots, no nothing. That was all one and done. And I'm proud to say I'm proud of it. And I want to give a shout out to Austin Michaels because if it wasn't for Austin, I wouldn't be able to speak. I was so afraid when I first started to speak. Now you can't get me to shut up. So if you want to blame anybody, blame Austin Michaels.
No, I think you're going to be a good podcaster, and that's why I recruited you under the brand. And for anybody who's been watching who hasn't heard me say it yet, please hit that like button or reaction button right now, and please share it out. That's what will help Mayhem Media grow the most. Is if you share out our content, that would be very helpful. So please take a moment and do that right now. So you stepped away from wrestling. Do you want to talk about why you decided to step away from wrestling?
So I stepped away from wrestling because I worked with, I think I worked with Gym City and not Gym City, TCW and UCW, which is ran by TCW is run by Brandon T. Wilson, who I did respect. I don't respect no more the douchebag. But UCW is ran by Terry England, who's the longest running independent wrestling promotion in the state of Kentucky since 1997. Both men, well, not anymore Brandon, but mostly Terry, they took me under their wing. They taught me the production side of wrestling. They taught me how this has to be done, how this has to be done. Because I'm one of those people, I want to learn all of the business. I don't want to just wrestle. I want to learn all of it because once you stop wrestling, what else is there to do? So if you don't know everything, then what are you going to do after you get out of the ring? So my knee would swell up after each match to a size of a softball. And it got to the point where it affected, me walking, and my wife and me was talking about it. She said, listen, you got two choices. You can either keep wrestling and act like your mother and end up getting knee surgeries like 3 or 4 times. Or you can stop right now and, be able to walk in, because our kids are getting up there in age where they want to do extracurricular activities and stuff like that with school. And, don't have to worry about it. And I said, you got a good point. It was a difficult decision. Best decision I ever made, though.
To step away.
I believe so. It was the best decision I ever made, because I want to be completely honest with you. I haven't felt confident in myself since, and this is no disrespect to Brandon or Terry. Okay, maybe a little bit of Brandon. No, I'm kidding. This is no disrespect to TCW or UCW. I haven't felt as confident in myself than what I did when I was in Gym City Wrestling. In Gym City, I felt like me, the fan interaction, everything. Triple Crown Wrestling, though I was starting to get a little bit of, a speed ahead of me, it just didn't feel the same to me.
Yeah.
So that, along with my knee, just yeah, good luck, Michaels. I'll see you down the road, brother. With my knee, just I think the stars kind of aligned, and it's like, okay, I think it's time to, even though it was very, very brief, it's time for you to step away. Even though people begged me not to get out of the ring. They begged me, like, dude, what are you doing? This is stupid. You're crazy. I'm like, this is the right decision for me and for my family. And I want to say this right now. No punk kid scared me out of the business. We'll get to him in a little later, towards the end of this.
Actually, that's where I was actually going to pivot to next, to your show, to the Joe Monroe show, and what just recently happened. Let's talk about that now. Go share out the episode again. Leave a comment, because now is when the episode's about to pick up.
Yeah. So after my, everything, I stepped out of wrestling, whatever, I decided to do a show. First few episodes I did on Roddy Piper, which was one of my biggest inspirations in pro wrestling. It did okay. Then Brandon Wilson and Terry England both approached me and was like, hey, why not just work for us? Why not do something for the history of pro wrestling? We want with the state of Kentucky, because believe it or not, there is no historic documents for the state of Kentucky for professional wrestling, with the Historic Society of Kentucky documented in the archives. And I said, that's a load of crock. It should be, giving the rich wrestling history just in this state. I mean, for crying out loud, I went over it. You had NWA Mid-America, you had CWA, you had ICW with the Pothos, you had USWA, which I just recently went over. And a lot of these different independent promotions, UCW, TCW, there's a few over in Eastern Kentucky, AMW, there's a few over in Western Kentucky. I can't name them all right off the top of my head. But there's a lot of wrestling promotions that have been around for quite a while. And I think the history is there. I'm a history nut too. So I'm like, you know what? That works both of my passions. Let's do it. And then 2 months, I swear, 2 months later, they're like, hey, why don't you be our Mean Gene / Tony Schiavone, catch these wrestlers on the way out and do interviews? You sure? Yep. Okay, here we go. And that took off. So from then on, I've been doing that since full time. I've been doing all that since October, plus trying to do interviews with legendary professional wrestlers, which I'm slacking on. I'm sorry, y'all. But I still do the history of pro wrestling. I'm doing that every Saturday now. I'm going to pre-record those, put them on YouTube exclusive on Saturdays. Then the interviews and stuff will be on my page and also on Triple Crown's page as well. So yeah, man, it's been a very short but very long road. Then I think it was like a month and a half ago, you approached me and I said, let me think about it. Let me talk to the promotions. We just recently had a little bit of a meeting there with each other, and everything worked out great. And here I am now, part of the Mayhem Media Brotherhood.
Yep, absolutely. And now what happened? Let's talk about what just happened this past episode. You kind of got hacked and taken over.
Yeah, so you need to talk with your head of HR, as he likes to say.
Yeah.
Mr. Connor Clarkson. because he acted on. Can I put a formal complaint since you're the president? Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah, but it's going to the paper shredder.
Of course.
Just like all the complaints to HR. So no, but yeah, no. And now we've since you've gotten some upgraded security. Some Mayhem Media has enhanced your security a little bit.
It has, but
so it shouldn't be happening again.
Right, but it was held hostage for a while. I was able to get it back.
Yeah, because we help you with this. We upgraded your security now that it's done.
Right. I was able to get it back, but I made a deal. People's want to know what that deal is. Let's go ahead and reveal that right now. The deal was this. I was able to talk to Scott Diamond, who was actually head of the Diamond Cartel, not Austin, as he likes to say he is. I was able to talk to him, paid him a little bit of green, and next Wednesday, I'm going to give him a platform on my show because unlike his son, I'll get to his son in just a freaking moment. Unlike his son, I have nothing but respect for Scott Diamond for everything he has done in this industry. Even though there's some questionable things, yeah, I said questionable, Kevin Sinclair, you can sue me for that. He's done some very questionable things in his career, but he's also respected the sport of professional wrestling. Unlike his son, Austin Diamond. Now, Austin, well, I'm taking over here for a little bit, JD, so you got me started.
Yep, go ahead.
Austin Diamond. Let's talk about Austin Diamond. Joe, what about Austin Diamond? Well, first and foremost, Austin Diamond just about almost, we'll say a year ago, went on some podcast, I guess you want to call it that, and decided to, say the Monroe family crown, the head of the Monroe family title, was nothing but a paper crown and it should go in the shredder. At this point, I'm like, you know what? The heck with it. What have I got to lose? I was unhappy. I didn't like the way things were going, but I was tired of people talking crap. So what did I do? I said, kid, next time you say something like that, I'll come up next time you're on that show. No, you won't. I dare you. People need to learn not to dare me to do anything because I'll do it. So I went up there. His dad was co-hosting the show. I went on there, confronted one of their co-hosts, knocked him out, clear code, got on the show. Then some stupid mass wrestler decided to come on and ruin everything. Then Austin decided to run his mouth again. Didn't think I was going to touch him because his father was right there, and he knows I have nothing but respect for his father. And you had Frank the Tank over there, who is another legend in this business, and Scott Diamond's bodyguard, who I respect as well. But there's one thing I don't take lightly. I do not take anybody taking my family name and try to throw it in the trash bin because I did not work. I didn't work my butt off for the past few years in this business just for some punk kid to try and toss it away. I mean, what has he done in this business? Aside from pissing me off. I'm sorry for the language. Aside from pissing me off.
He's complained a lot.
He's complained a lot. That's all he's done. He's complained a lot. He's maybe had, I don't know, 3-4 matches. He should be underneath me, right? Logically. Am I correct? Yeah, okay, he should. But why did he get to me? I can't answer that. I guess, again, I was in a bad place in my head at the time. So he started running this crap, and I grabbed him. I said, do not test me. I am warning you. And what happened? I can't blame Scott for doing this. Scott, sucker punched me in the back of the head, and it took not Scott, but Austin as well to beat me down at this stupid little podcast that they were at. Took both of them. And then shortly after, I announced that I was stepping away from the ring. And then Austin wants to brag, oh, I scared him out of the business. I scared him out of the business.
That's pretty good.
No, you didn't scare crap.
That's a pretty good invitation, actually.
Thank you. You didn't scare anything out of me. At any point, the past few months, I could have taken you out like that, kid. But out of respect for your father and out of the respect for that I have for this business, I didn't do that. Because I get it. You're young, you're cocky, you want to make a name for yourself. I was there. Trust me, I was there. I know what you were doing. I was there. But I'm going to tell you right now, This moron decided to go ahead and restart this crap about a month ago. He
Yeah.
called out my grandfather, saying the best thing that ever happened to him was the day that he died. Wish that all my family members with the last name Monroe would perish in a house fire. That way they don't have the disgrace of having my family's last name. I don't take too kindly to that. So I
Yeah.
made a little video. I said, Scott, you need to make this right. Scott told me Junior can fight his own battles. Okay, let Junior try to fight his own battles. Dead silence after that. Then what happens? He makes these little vignettes, try to call me out. I'm trying to take the high road like the man that I am to ignore some punk kid before he gets hurt. And then once he takes over the show, pays someone to hack into the Joe Monroe show, takes over. Connor wasn't freaking helping. And then
Connor's part of Mayhem, but he's new and he's young, so we're gonna season him up a little bit.
I know, but it took me talking to, guess who, JD? Scott, yet again, paying Scott the money to bring back my show underneath me. Now, I'm going to say this, and JD, I'm sorry I'm taking a lot of time spending on this, kid. Probably more than what I should. But Austin, I'm going to tell you this right now, kid. You are beneath me. You say I couldn't lace up your damn boots? Kid, you couldn't even put on my damn boots. Here's the wrestling, how can I say, the pyramid scheme here. Here's you. Here's legends. Here's people who's been in the business for a while, making great names for themselves. Here's me. Here's people just getting started. Here's the ring crew. Here's Johnny Lately that sweeps the ring. Here's Miss Cindy that decides to clean up after everybody leaves. Here's little Johnny, who apparently picks his boogers in the crowd while he's waiting on mommy and daddy to get done with taking down the ring and cleaning up the place. Then there's you. That's where you are. You think you're up here? You're way, way down here, kid. Way down. And I hope that you have some common sense come to you soon. Because I hate being the old Joe. I had some good times. Yes, I did. But I hate being that guy that loves to hurt people. And as you've seen in the photo, I used to love hurting people. Win or lose, I don't care. Each one of my opponents changed. Ask the Nightmare Walter Paul. Ask the professor of professional wrestling himself, Roy Keith Young, who I was under his management for a reason. Ask Austin Page. Ask him. Ask Sean Damian. Ask my brother. Ask my wife, who you decided to insult, who I want to congratulate again for getting her bachelor's degree this past weekend. But now you're saying she's illiterate and she's a cow? Really? Dude, if you think pissing me off is a bad idea, I know she's only 4'8", but she's got Scottish and Irish blood in her, so don't test her. Trust me, I have to deal with it on a daily basis. I'm going to tell you right here, right now, and I don't know if you're watching. I could care less if you're watching this live or you're watching this later. Keep my family's name out your damn mouth. Ask everybody that knew me in the past. Ask Joe Gold what I'm capable of doing, because that man seen something in me years ago that we was going to revolutionize this business. I took care of a lot of dirty laundry for that man that a lot of people don't know about. And I don't regret it. Austin, don't be one of those people. Because you say time is on your side, kid. Time was never, ever on your side when you're dealing with me. This is your last warning. Now, luckily, I'm going to talk to your pops next week after we talk about his career, since he actually freaking has one, unlike you. We're going to try to sit down as men, as heads of the family. We're going to try to calm things down. Because guess what, Austin? Even dear old daddy knows what I can do. You don't want that out of me, kid. I buried that almost a year ago for a reason. Partially because of my injury. But partially I was sick and tired of being the asshole that everybody changed, even for better or worse, after they dealt with me in the ring. I faced nightmares. I faced demons. Hell, I even faced my own best friend, Christopher Matthews, one time. Ask him what I can do. There is nobody, and I do mean nobody, alive except for probably my mother and my father that can stop me. My wife, as of right now, what you've said about her, she's already gave me the go-ahead and go. Do what you need to do. Take care of business. Just don't get hurt. There's nothing stopping me. The only thing stopping me is myself not wanting to be the man that I hate being and your dad. That's it, kid. That's all I got to say. I have nothing else to say. Because if I keep going on, I mean, sorry, JD. But
No, it's all good.
That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say about the kid. Congratulations, you got your 15 minutes of fame, Austin.
Mike D weighing in, and once you guys will wrestle at Backlash, we got Bobby lurking.
Oh, Bobby knows. No. Ask my cousin here. He knows what I can do.
Mike D says to finish the story. There you go. Mike D's got your back too, as does Mayhem. So,
see, and that's the thing. He thinks I'm in this alone. I'm going to tell you one thing that Austin Michaels and his brotherhood learned a long time ago. You mess with one Monroe, you're messing with the whole family. And that's one thing you definitely don't want. And by family, I'm not talking about just blood.
Yeah.
There's a lot of us out there. A lot of us. Hell, Joe Gold, I still consider him as part of the family. The professor, I still consider him part of the family. Even though he left me for some punk at a time, I still consider him family. He's my mentor. AJ Harp, still consider him part of my family. Walter Paul, oddly enough, one of my greatest rivals. I consider him part of the Monroe family. There's a lot of others I can name off right now. We just don't have the time for it because I know my hour's just about up.
Yep, we're coming up to the hour mark. That is where we like to keep our episodes. We like to try and keep them under an hour, or at least not longer than an hour. So unless I imagine that was probably your final comments there to Austin and your final warning, as you said.
No, that's it.
Yep. So hopefully he'll back off this time and get the point. Some other people found out what happens when Mayhem gets your back. They found out a little earlier on this week what happens when they poke the bear too much. So he's part of the Mayhem now, everybody. So you better just watch who you're poking and stuff. You never know who else they might have on their back. So look for Joe Monroe. He's going to have an episode next Wednesday. That's when he's going to have, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. This Austin's father. What was his name?
Scott Diamond.
Scott Diamond. Scott Diamond's going to be on, and then next, I believe we have a no sell roundtable coming up towards the end of the month as well as Mayhem Media. We'll have another Mayhemtainment episode. We're going to be doing some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles talking now. I know it's a little weird to go from Joe Monroe's closing thing response to Austin, but it's a show. I still have to get my promo stuff in. I still have to get that in.
No Sell Roundtable will be next Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Each Saturday we will have a new episode of the History of Pro Wrestling where we're going back to Memphis. So be on the lookout there. It'll be on YouTube. JD, please wrap this up before.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure you go check out Joe Monroe's stuff. Shout out to all the other Mayhemtainment people. Marcus Fredrickson is going to play us out. ReverbNation.com/Marcus Fredrickson, and share out your favorite song. Until next time, Joe Monroe, founder of the Joe Monroe Show, the newest member of the Mayhem Media team. I am your host, JD, and that's going to be the end.